Welcome into the 2025 LUFL Draft Lottery. We're broadcasting semi-live from a recently de-renovated Cracker Barrel. Well, something like that. We've got Eric Brown. He's going to be picking out the cards randomly, numbering them from 1 to 12, and we'll reveal those a little bit later. Joe Carmody is our witness for this, and it's a bit of a tedious process, so we'll just fast forward until we get to the end. But basically, Eric's just picking them out and writing the numbers, and then the envelopes will be hermetically sealed in a mayonnaise jar on Funkin' Wagnall's porch until we reveal them here momentarily. Okay, we got through that, and now we're ready to move the ceremony to the draft board. And welcome in to the draft board. We've got all 12 envelopes here that were sealed earlier today, chosen at random, and we're going to go from 12 to 1, determining the order of this year's 2025 LUFL draft. So starting off with the 12th pick in this year's draft, Nash One Take Jake. So Jake Johnston is the first, well, I should say the 12th pick in the draft. Now we go to number 11. With the 11th pick in this year's LUFL draft, the Bushmen. The Bushmen are the 11th pick in this year's LUFL draft. Now with number 10, 10th pick, Parts Unknown, the Plague. We'll be picking number 10 in this year's draft. With the number 9 pick in this year's draft, Twin City Booty Daddies, who just narrowly avoided having their team renamed last year. Just snuck out of last place. So here in a moment, we'll actually reveal the team that did finish in last place and what their new name is, but actually their logo is more of the thing than the name. With the number 8 pick in this year's LUFL draft, Squid Nation was just champions 3 seasons ago. Squid Nation is picking number 8 in this year's draft. And this does give me an opportunity. We're talking about champion from 3 seasons ago. The reigning champion, Paul Carmody, elected to end on a high note. And so he is not back this year. And when we get to his replacement, we will signify that. But right now, the number 7 pick in this year's LUFL draft, and that is Jerky and Blood, which is the new name of Blood and Jerky, but we're most proud of their new logo, which is a cow with shoes on. So that's about as raw and rare as a steak can get. And then Dwayne, that's in honor of Will, and then Dwayne, he likes his steak about like shoe leather. They have the number 7 pick in this year's LUFL fantasy draft. Now it's kind of in the sweet spot. I know a lot of people like 7, 6, 5, somewhere in this range. With the number 6 pick in this year's LUFL Fantasy Draft, we have the Auto Drafters. Joe Carmody. Wow, I'll edit that. The Auto Drafters, Joe Carmody. The number of times that Joe and Paul have been called the other's name is probably in the millions, but the Auto Drafters picking number 6 this year. With the number 5 pick in this year's LUFL Fantasy Draft, the Midway Monsters, the last founding member of LUFL, which is, by the way, the 30th anniversary of this league, started back in 1995, and at that time it was Bruce, the Midway Monsters, his team, and there were only two other members. It was Todd Wetmore and Todd Wetmore's cat. That was the first LUFL season back in 1995. The Midway Monsters with the number 5 pick in this year's LUFL draft. With the number 4 pick, Showtime, champion from 2 seasons ago. With the number 4 pick, Showtime. Now we're getting down to the fun stuff. The number 3 pick in this year's LUFL Fantasy Draft, Team Derek, which is the newest member of the league. It's actually my brother, Derek Hall. Welcome to the league. He is replacing Paul Carmody, who, as I mentioned, left after winning the championship. Now I've got to test my brain power and see who's left with the final 2 spots. Oh, yeah, it's Tony and Dave. Tony and Dave are the final 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump ahead to the number 1, and then we'll go back to number 2. So with the number 1 pick in this year's LUFL Fantasy Draft, 100-team Tony Snyder with the number 1 pick in this year's LUFL Draft. And then with the number 2 pick, just to make sure it's correct, yes, Salter and Pepper, Dave Walls with the number 2 pick in this year's Fantasy Draft. So we'll go back through these really quickly for those that just fast forward to the end. Nash One Take Jake, pick number 12. The Bushman, pick number 11, Steve Twan. Keith Keener, pick number 10, Parts Unknown, The Plague. The Twin City Booby Babies, number 9, Eric Brown. The number 8 pick, Brian Weitzel and Squib Nation, number 8. Jerky and Blood, Dwayne Gilpin, and the mysterious Will Furman that has never actually been seen before. Number 7 pick. Joe Carmody and the Auto Drafters, number 6. The Originators, Bruce Thomas, Midway Monsters, they picked number 5. Number 4, myself, Showtime. That's the number 4 pick. Team Derek, our newest member, Derek Hall, the number 3 pick. Salter and Pepper, Dave Walls, number 2. And the number 1 pick in this year's draft is Tony Snyder. 100-team Tony Hart. I can't do that, Hart. Hey, have a great draft this year. As a reminder, coming up on Tuesday night. And if you haven't already gotten everything plugged in as far as your team is concerned, go for that, or you need to do that before then. But if you have any questions or issues, just let me know. And we look forward to having a great year again. Good luck.